Right. Hey up, Gordon.
Now then, Andrew, we all right?
Now then, by the way, that's a real, anyone listening, that's a Lincolnshire thing. And I saw a thing once with Claire Balding doing her walks or heard it on the radio.
All right.
And they tried to teach her then. Now then, she's going, now then? No. Now then? Now then? Right. So you've been here too long. So today it is podcast number 180,000. I don't know what it is. We've lost count, haven't we?
We have. It's probably 26 because we missed last week.
Oh yeah, we missed last week. Just so busy because we had the Autism and ADHD show this week in London, yeah?
We did,
And
yes.
we had a lot of work to do to get there, get people there, organise places to stay, transport. It was a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of negotiating and various other bits and bobs and planning ahead, and things don't necessarily go the way we want them to, and navigating that at the same time.
That's right. And we had planned to do a live podcast from the show, and it just didn't happen. We were just so crazy. The interesting thing is, you went home on the Friday, didn't you?
Yes, we went Friday afternoon.
And how busy it was. It was empty on the Saturday.
Really?
Absolutely empty. Well, not empty, but you could get to everything, you could see everything.
Oh, wow. And
So
that's a shame because it was mainly focused for parents on the Saturday, wasn't it?
it was 33 degrees in Angel Islington on Saturday. I went down to the street market there in my lunch hour to have a look at the jewelry. The jewelry stores weren't there. You know, it really was quite I think it was the weather was incredibly hot,
Yeah.
and I think people just stayed at home.
Yeah, and I understand that because I mean, we were there on Friday, and it was for me it was quite oppressive.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Um,
Well, it was
um,
a lot hotter on the Saturday. So the history of the autism show, I don't know fully. I say the autism show, it's called the Autism ADHD show. That's the first year they've called it that, isn't it? I
it
think.
is, yes.
And it was normally at XL, which is on Docklands. I don't know why they've moved it. The system was the autism show was London, Manchester, Birmingham, NEC.
Yep.
And then in October we get the TES SEN show at the Business Design Centre
Mm,
in in Angel. This year, for whatever reason, both the shows are in the Angel Centre in Islington, which
yeah.
is good because transport links are excellent. It's one stop from King's Cross and a very brief walk, so that's kind of good news.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful venue. There's several places to get your tea, your coffee, and what have you inside there. And there must have been on that first day thousands of people, mustn't there, Gordon?
Yeah, it was very busy, and we were queuing up outside, and you just sort of got so far to the venue, and all of a sudden you came to complete standstill because that is this really the queue? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness! And it
yeah.
was snaking around and everything else. And I hadn't experienced that before, to be honest, for an autism show. Uh,
So for me, I had an exhibitor pass, so I swept past all of you proletariat uh, because I did two talks there.
you did.
And but yeah, as a show, did you like it?
It wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting a few more stands, and I'm quite pleased there wasn't,
Right.
um, because it meant I could go around and really focus on the areas that I wanted to. Where the test show north that we were at, uh,
Bulk.
there was quite a lot more stands on there, and getting around that was um, really full on, but I didn't get to speak to as many people as I wanted in the depth that I wanted to. So in
Right.
terms of that, I was very pleased with it. And there was a lot of duplicate companies in terms of doing the same thing,
Yeah.
which was really quite useful as well to get a balance
Oh, you
of
like that, yeah?
what is there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah. So my journey was a bit easier than yours in as much as I was in there at 8 a.m. because I had an exhibitor's pass. And I thought, you know what? Because I was not working for, I was the guest of TTS Resources. And if you don't know TTS Resources, they produce all the really. Do you know what? I hate to say it, other places are available, but they produce all the best stuff, really. And so it's good fun. But I got in there early because they gave me my ticket. They
Yeah,
got me one of my speaking slots, and so I was just going and see if they needed a cup of coffee while they were setting up and stuff like that. And when you arrived, or when the visitors arrived, it was like a plague of locusts came through. It was almost like the room changed color. It was
yeah,
so peaceful, but it allowed me to go around and make some friends with people and have some conversations and things like that before it got busy,
yeah,
So yeah, it was good. It
yeah.
was good, good, good. Yeah, did you have any particular, but as far as uh, visitors, sorry, stands go, did you make any really good contacts or?
Well, excuse me. Yes, there was two ones that I really latched onto, I suppose, is the best way of saying it. And I got them to hand, and because I was doing something else,
Hmm.
here they are. I'd left them across across the room there. So there was one to do with it's called the DIR and DIR floor time, and we were going to be interviewing the lady and talking about what is DIR, etc. And it's a form of play and how to play and interact with children and how to keep their focus,
Right.
particularly when they are dysregulated. And how are we going to do that? So that looked very, very interesting. And having a conversation with her, she would like to do some work with us. And I think it'd be really good to explore that further because it is to help with children that have behavioral presentations
Right.
and looking at how do we change that behavior into a play activity and keep them on there and what processes you have to come through to to do that. So that's very interesting because there's obviously a science behind it,
Mm.
uh, and there is good research that comes with it. So it's not just a matter of let's go and play. There is a
No.
specific way of doing, etc. So that I found very, very interesting, and we will be talking to her over the coming months, if not weeks.
Okay.
Um, and then I'd got NDSA. And what is NDSA? Well, they've just got it here as an abbreviation, and I'm supposed to know what it means. And I did, except I didn't write it down. Um, so it's to do with mentoring and supporting mainly adults with autism. So
Okay.
I think it's autism support is the end part of
Mm.
NDSA.
Right. Okay.
But it's really to sort of help individuals, so from 16 plus, understand their presentations, understand difficulties within their social environments and groups, and how to get around the work situation in terms of if you're not working, how can you get employment? How do you get into
Mm.
what sort of things you need to take into consideration from your CV right the way through to the interview to getting a job and what
Right.
what help is available and things like that there. And the thing about this is that everybody that is there to support you are also neurodivergent themselves and
Right.
maybe autistic. So
Okay.
so that they fully understand the issues that have gone there. They whoever it is that will support you has that lived experience and has had the difficulty that they'll be talking to you about. So they've got a wealth of support there to provide that. So for our families that are coming through from young children into adulthood and looking for the employment route, this company is something there that can definitely benefit.
Oh.
Um, they're a national company, and it would be something like Gordon, you're in Lincoln. We haven't got nobody in Lincoln. Let's train you up and do this. You can go and support the young people there.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
we can give you all the resources and everything else that you're going to need to deliver that sort of thing. So again, I'm looking at that. Um, there's a mentor route so that people can just go and talk about their issues, and then there's what's called the tool up route, which is the employment based route, and things like that. So again, I found these two really interesting because it's
Yeah.
uh, again support that we can tap into to help our members and anybody that's looking for that missing link, I suppose.
So proper practical on the ground stuff. I know you're a
Mm,
little bit more businesslike than me, aren't you? Um, I think one of my things with the stands is, I have to be honest, with the exception of a couple of stands, I don't really go round the stands. Let me just turn this phone's being mad, being naughty. Um, Hang on. As a valued customer, I am. Right. Yeah, and so for me, my kind of main focus when I'm there is I like to meet people. So not businesses so much, but people.
yeah,
And so because because I tend to do talks, what happens is the setup that they've got, which is excellent for speakers, is especially speakers who've got a book out. Did I
yeah.
tell you I've got a book out?
No, you didn't. Have you got a book out?
I've got a book out. It's called Andrew and the Magic Give a Shitometer, and you can get it on Amazon.
Excellent.
Okay. Um, so so what they do is you do your talk, and then you go over, there's an empty table called the speakers table,
Yeah,
and it's meet the speakers. But of course, for me, that also means sell your books and things like that. And I did two talks on this particular workshop, and or sorry, conference show, and so I got to spend a good hour or so, hour and a half on the table meeting people that that had come and seen the talk. So that was nice, and it was good to sort of find out which bits of your talk were helping people and which weren't. So I did two talks. I did one for TTS, which was uh, basically it was about masking, but not about masking anymore, but about the effects of masking and how useful or not useful masking is. Absolute rammed with people. It was really, really full, so that was good. It was actually, you messaged me to say it's standing room only, and you were
yes,
absolutely spot on. And it was a really great response. I really, really enjoyed working working on that, and then meeting people afterwards who are talking about their kids and the children's masking and all the stuff that goes on at home, and to some extent at school. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. Getting, as I say, getting people back was also good because we could have those conversations. We could be a little bit more personal, share ideas, that sort of thing. Really, really did it for me. Now, I said I did two talks over the weekend. You, there was one, I only found out what had gone wrong after you'd gone.
all
So
right.
the talk that I did that you attended, the masking talk, it seemed to be I was really running out of time, and I can't work this out.
Yeah.
And I knew I had a 20-minute and a 40-minute talk. And what I did was I put the timings on the wrong talks. So the 40-minute talk, I gave myself 20 minutes. And the following day, the 20-minute talk, I gave myself 40 minutes. And so moving on to the next day, the next talk was in the afternoon. And I went to see, first of all, I went to see Rebecca Duffus, who actually I very nearly was covering for her. In
Oh,
fact,
yes.
take it back.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Saturday, Friday morning, Kate Laird, who's the woman that organises the speakers, who I found in a heap at 5 o'clock on Saturday night when it was all finished. But Kate Laird said Luke Bearden's stuck. and there'd been a fatality on the train, apparently. So awful experience for everybody. And I said, "Well, I'll cover for him if you want, Kate." And and she was like, "Oh, really? Will you?" I said, "Yes." She said, "What you got ready?" I said, "Nothing, but don't worry, I'll do something." And I'm not bad at pulling something out of the hat. I'm quite good at that. And I did actually have a few ideas, and I knew what I was going to do. And so, right up till about 5 minutes before Luke was due on, I was going to be Luke.
Yes.
And then the next day, I wanted to see my good friend Rebecca Duffus was doing a talk as well on autism and identity, and she also had got transport problems. The bus,
Oh,
no, it's
a
gone
dreadful journey she had, wasn't it? An absolutely
awful
dreadful
hours.
journey.
She was on public transport for hours. So I rang her up and I said, "Do you want me to cover for you?" And she's like, "That's really nice, really good, thank you." But she got there 5 minutes before she was due on.
Wow.
She messaged me. She said, "Where's the nearest loo?" I said, "You give me," because she got a suitcase full of books to sell. "You give me your suitcase and shoot off up the stairs to the loo, and I'll take your suitcase in and get you all set up." So it was okay. But I nearly spoke 4 times. But
Yes.
on that, and that would have been mad because Rebecca's talk finished exactly the same as mine started in a
All right.
in another arena, in a different arena, but they were
Yeah.
quite close. But yeah, so I did one on ADHD and teenagers at home, which was again, um, it was good to talk about things. I think what I generally did, which you know I do a lot, is I kind of did this talk about, listen, you're all doing your best. I've got no new answers for you. We'll go through what is good practice. But really, it was a hot Saturday afternoon. We didn't want anything too hectic. Let's
Yeah.
just talk about this stuff. Let's just talk about it. How's it affecting your life? And I remember saying to people, I said, be prepared to be the bad guy. And this woman went, I'm the bad guy. I says, I bet you are. Anyway, so it was, I found it, even when it was really packed, I found it very, very laid back.
Hmm.
It had a lovely, lovely vibration. I met some great people. I met people I've known from the past, former clients, which is always nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was good. My wife, however, who came with me, she really enjoys the talks,
Yeah.
and she will fit in as many talks as she possibly can, you know. And so it's yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I found with that the thing for me on the talks, and I went to a couple, was that you were provided with headphones.
yeah.
So all the distraction of the noise, because there's quite a few talks at the same time going on around, although they're quite a bit apart, everybody's still mingling around in various places. It's all open top type stuff. So you could get distracted with noise, but the headphones takes out the noise, and all you can hear is the person talking.
They're brilliant,
Um,
aren't they?
and it really focuses you into what's
Yeah.
being said.
But that was interesting because actually, when I saw Rebecca's talk, which was about autism and identity, um, when I saw her talk, I sat there. She said, "Get some photos for me." So I took a load of photos, and then I realised I'd got 5 minutes, no, 10 minutes to set up my talk, which ate into her talk. So I went off with the headphones on, listening while I was setting up.
Yeah.
And the range on those headphones is absolutely excellent. The standard and quality of those headphones is great. But basically, what you've got, it's an open plan venue, isn't it?
Yes.
And actually, you just don't get disturbed by what's going on around, do you?
No, no. I
Uh,
was very, very impressed with it.
they've done that. You've not been to the Manchester, Birmingham, and the old London one, have you?
No, I've just been to two, which was a Test North and then this one. I haven't
Yeah,
been to them before, but I thought it's about time I started going out and
yeah.
having a look at what else is out there.
Yeah, I think you're right to do so, but they've always done that in the autism show to
Right.
have the headphones, and so that was good. But I have to say, my second talk finished early, and it was so funny. I was getting a bottle of water filled up at a water station, and this little girl came up. She went, "Hello, I just saw your talk about ADHD." I said, "Oh, did you? Did you like it?" She went, "No, I was very disappointed. You finished." She said, "You finished early." I said, "Oh, I got my timings wrong. I'm really sorry." She went, "Well, I wanted to see more." I said, "I'm so sorry." I said, "I really got my timings wrong." I said, "Come with me." So I gave her a book and I signed the book and I got Rebecca Duffus to sign the book. So she's she's probably got the only book signed by the two of us.
Yeah, that's
Um,
brilliant.
but yeah, so she was quite pleased with that. That made her happy. But no, I'm
Mm.
not happy. Thank you. You and your lousy finishing early, knob off to get the early train home on a Saturday night.
Mm.
So, but organization wise, it was superb, wasn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't fault it at all, really.
Mm,
And obviously they can't predict the weather as to how hot it's going to be and things like that. But
no,
although it was a gorgeous day, it was just very, very hot.
it was.
Um, but everything flowed, which was good.
Mm, yeah.
I thought, and everything was spaced out really well.
Well, the staff were all the same staff that go to the London, the old one, the Docklands one.
Hmm.
So it was helpful for me. So I do tend to speak every year.
Yeah,
It was helpful for me to know the people doing the sound, to know the people putting the stands up, to know
yeah.
it was really, really helpful to know who to speak to. So they have got continuity on that kind of side of things. Um, any downsides, Gordon, that you thought, oh, not really?
For me, if there was a downside, it would be that there wasn't sufficient tables to just go and sit down
No.
and take the weight off your feet for 5, 10 minutes, plan what you're going to do, and then go back in.
Mm,
I think I found 3 tables.
yeah.
Um, so I would have liked a little bit more area for to just go sit down, gather your thoughts, what you've done, and then go back and plan what you're doing next. But that's just me.
I
Uh,
would have liked to have seen coffee that you didn't have to go up the stairs for.
yeah, or pay for.
Well, you say that, I've been to some of them that you don't have to pay
Yeah, yeah,
for the drinks and things like that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, but they were doing these sort of posh coffees, weren't they?
they were.
Um, but yeah, I know what you mean. There were mutterings about wheelchair access.
Yeah, I'm sure there must have been lifts somewhere, but it wasn't something I looked for. But I can see what they mean about the access for disabled or needing to get um, access up without going up the steps. Yeah,
Well, that was interesting because I happen to know that they've got good wheelchair access. And it was only mentioned to me afterwards. And I thought, oh, well, that's a shame because actually they've got great wheelchair access.
yeah. Just
Uh,
it didn't jump out at you.
no, no. And I did think that was a tricky one. I also, the brochures listed the people speaking, but they didn't list where they were speaking.
Yes,
And you had to work out where people were, didn't you?
yes, yeah, yeah. Because they had just the autism awareness and then ADHD awareness, but there was about 3 or 4 different things with the same heading, so
Yeah.
it didn't do that. But I mean, they weren't miles apart
No,
um,
no, they were not.
to guess that. But sometimes, if you wanted to go early, you ended up going there late, and then the back of a queue, or
Mm.
end up standing, depending how lucky you were.
I mean,
But
they didn't start and stop at the same times, did they?
no, well,
So you, yeah, sorry.
some overlapped, but not many.
Yeah, but the overlap is the great bit where you can get from one place to another, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know mine was opposite Rebecca's, and so when she finished, mine came in late. So I'd started, and then you had another. But by the Saturday, people were exhausted. That immense heat was just, you know, I mean, I know I'll be bloody moaning in February. I know that, but, but yeah, as a show, I also thought it was well represented by different types of stands and different types of exhibitors. You know, I do some of the ones I think, can you do any business here? Can you actually do any business here? You know, for example, the ones trying to recruit for schools.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, well, my friend Bridget was there, and and her she had a stand there recruiting for their academy trust, and I'm
Mm.
going, do you really get people come to a show, choose a school? I can't see it, but they were there. Maybe they do.
They've also got a presentation of something and
Mm,
what's doing. I didn't talk to them because obviously it wasn't interested to me
no,
to go and look at that. But I
no.
did have the same sort of question. Why would a school go there unless it's specific to just London area and how many people from London went?
And how many schools were there? There were a lot.
There
There were a
was.
lot of schools. So that was kind of interesting. Although I was going to say, oh, so te Bridget from Homeworth Schools, did offer to take me out for lunch, but I didn't feel I could. It was so busy there, you know,
Mm.
helping the TTS people. TTS stand as always was superb, absolutely superb. You
It was,
know,
and very, very busy. I tried to come and talk to a few of the ladies a
mm,
couple of times. Couldn't
yeah,
get anywhere close because you were just so
no.
packed,
I
so
mean,
busy.
it was one of their smaller stands, but it had a lot of gear on it, and so
Yeah,
they had a tent, and they had all the audio visual stuff inside the tent. It was a blackout tent,
yeah,
and the kids could get in, and the kids just do. And quite often, the kids will get in the tent, and the parents will just wander around, go
yeah,
away, and the security in there is massive, isn't it? So do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
um, you know, your kids are pretty safe. So yeah, I thought that was good. There was um there was the enemy of boredom. Did you see
Yes.
the enemy of? Now I've
I didn't
known them,
speak
and
to them, but I did see it. Yes.
so basically what they're doing is provision of different things for specifically ADHD people. Now I've known them a while, but I did spend a lot of time with them this time because of the fact that I was pitched up next to them on on the TTS stand.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they're doing music composition and all sorts of stuff with these kids. And I thought this is something different. And I was kind of pleased to see that this is about the third or fourth time I've seen them. So I'm going,
Mm.
this is good. They're obviously doing okay. They were at Bolton for TES North. They were at TES SEN in that same venue. They were at Autism Show last year, and of course they were at this one. So I was very pleased to see that because I do like, you know, there's a lot of people talk about giving alternative provision, but not a lot of people giving alternative provision,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, and how to do that within the curriculum we've got is kind of tricky anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. It definitely can be, without a doubt.
Mm, you know,
And,
so
and hitting that. Yeah. I also found that there was, which I hadn't seen before at the last show at Test North, but the SEN Legal were there.
right, yeah, they're
Um,
always there.
are they?
Yeah, and I'm always glad that they're there because
Mm.
people come up to me when I'm at the TTS stand and say, what about this? My child's been told they can't go on a school trip, or my child's been told this, that, and the other. And I'm delighted to be able to say, have a word with them up there
Yeah.
because they'll give you 20 minutes. They'll give you 20 minutes, and yeah, they're always there. They are always there. And it's almost like I know they're just running an advert, a sort of an exhibition, just like everybody else, but it's actually more in the line of having a free service there that you can
Yeah.
access while at the show. So yeah, no, yeah, SEN legal is good. And let's face it, there's a whole load of people doing things they shouldn't do.
There is, and you can tell that that's the case because they were very busy. Now, the thing that was interesting is that they're very busy, and
Mm,
that's professionals going asking them the questions on that day that we were there.
mm,
There'll be some public, but I imagine most of them were professionals there, whether they were school teachers
mm,
or whatever. And I tried twice to get and speak to them, but again, they were knee deep in queues of people wanted to talk to them. So there's obviously issues out there that people need clarifying and having the answers to, which was very interesting for me. And the other thing that I liked is down both sides of the room, they had consultation rooms, and you can book a
Yeah,
consultation
yeah,
for a particular thing that you may have difficulty with. And it was to clarify certain situations for people. I think you had a half-hour slot that you could book yourself in for.
yeah, yeah. And then upstairs there were also quiet chill out rooms
Right.
that you could just go and relax, and because it was people don't realize it is hard work, really hard work at these shows.
Mm,
I mean, you're on your feet for a day like yourself or 2 days like I was, and people don't let up,
no.
And I've been going to the show such a long time now that they all know who I am.
Yeah.
And so people come in and go, "Oh, you remember me? Oh yeah." But yeah, so it's kind of yeah, it is hard. And it was funny because on the Meet the Speaker stand, I'd be sitting down and people were wandering about and they'd come and say hello. And just people I knew, I'd say, "Do you want to sit down?" So Bridget sat for a little while, Stevie came and sat for a little while. People I didn't know came and sat for a little while,
Yeah.
you know. Um, yeah, and so that was good. It's also good because those spaces allow people to meet people. For me, like for example, to watch two people I respect highly, as in Stevie and Bridget, both having a conversation and me listening in. That
Yeah.
was great, that sort of thing. That makes me very happy because I can you know, I can see people I know what they do, but see it from a different angle
Yeah.
and not be involved in the conversation as well. So I enjoyed that. That was great. Did you get any freebies, Gordon? What freebies did you get?
I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
nothing.
No, no. Normally I go around and get pens and one or two other little bits and bobs and that, but
Yeah.
I didn't actually think to pick up because I think it's because it was so hot and I was so focused of trying
Mm,
to get
yeah.
to where I needed to and make sure I didn't miss who I wanted to talk to out. So we did a bit of a divide and conquer. Steve and I sat at a table and we sort of ticked who we wanted to talk to and says, right, you go and deal with that, I'll go and deal with that. So it allowed us to get off a bit earlier
Mm.
rather than go around together and doing that. We sort of broke it down between us.
So in the good old days, back at the Bet Show, Education Technology, I went home with sacks of stuff. I mean, sacks of absolute tons of stuff. And then it started to be a bit less. I think people tightened their belt a bit.
Mm,
But this, let me think. Yeah, in the most recent sort of year or two, myself, I'm trying to be a little bit more environmentally friendly.
yeah,
So people are offering me stuff and I wasn't taking it, if you see what I mean.
yeah, yeah,
I did take a lot of sweets. All the quality streets had melted. I mean, Quality Street Heroes, Celebrations, Roses, they are a staple of these shows, aren't they?
yeah.
Everyone's got a box of sweets on the counter, and but you couldn't eat it. It was all melted. Um, so everyone was eating the Haribos and the Marams. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I bought my chocolate and I thought I'll have it when I'm walking around and that, forgetting about where it was and that. And when I picked
No,
it up, it was almost, well, it was just liquid chocolate that I had to chuck.
you didn't store it down the front of your underpants again, did you, Gordon? We
Just
made it
a
almost to the
top pocket.
end. We'd made
Indeed.
it almost to the end. And so, yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I'd got some for Elsa and I opened them up and I said, put it straight in your mouth. Don't touch it. Don't do anything. And I bought an ice cream on the way out and the handle fell off because it defrosted almost
Oh
immediately.
no.
I
Yeah.
caught it. I actually caught it, but I like that. So yeah, and so it was good. The families were good. A lot of children there.
It
On
was.
certainly on the Saturday, yeah, and on the Friday, a lot of children there. Um, I had a special moment where I said hello to one child, and she just got right in my face and told me to F off, which, which is, you know what I feel about that is we're at a place where that's safe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was a safe thing to do.
And I'm actually hot bothered and don't talk to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it was quite nice. So where are you going next, Gordon? Are you going to anything next?
What in terms of shows?
Yeah.
I'd like to do the Tess South to see
Have
what
you not
that's
done that
like.
one yet?
I've not done that one yet, so I
So
think I should
Stevie's
probably go
done
there.
it and Lily's done it.
Yeah.
These are all friends of Pact, by the way. Stevie's done it, Lily's done it. They had a nice time.
Mm.
It's the same venue. I sort of, nobody agrees with me on this, but I sort of feel like, what's the difference? They all feel the same to me.
Yeah.
As in, if it's the same venue, they're also kind of a lot of the same people,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of, yeah, it was one of those that's sort of a bit, I will be there. I know that because they've already booked my hotel. So that's kind of cool.
It is.
Um, I will tell you something. I won't tell you which hotel I stayed in, so don't want to get anyone into trouble. But the parking was £100
Yeah.
for 2 nights. And one of the staff was in the car park. And I said, "Is that right? All that money?" And he worked it out. He went, "Yeah." He said, "Do you mind if I take a photo of your car?" Well, I've got this old car, as you know, and sometimes people do ask to take photos of
They
it.
do.
And I said, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "You into old cars, are you?" And he went, "No." He said, "I'm photographing your number plate to put it on the staff list." So he was the hero of the weekend.
Looking after you really well.
Yeah, he did look after me incredibly well, and I was ever so pleased. And so I'd love to name check the hotel because they were really, really excellent. But I will say, yeah, I was a long way away
Yeah.
for London hotels. I know you stayed out in the sticks as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. We got a train in, so went outside London. It was a 20-minute journey in, but
Right.
it was worth it. It was a nice.
So amenities wise, there are good hotels in the area, aren't there?
Yeah.
And you can stay out of town. I've stayed in Harlow and got the Stansted Express in before now. That works. You were in Welling, did similar things.
Yeah.
When you're actually in the town, you've got a Travelodge, a Premier Inn, and a Hilton, all virtually on site.
Yeah.
You've got it's one tube stop from King's Cross, Angel Station, and then it's almost literally across the road. So you've got all that going on. Absolutely the most beautiful places to eat if you want to make a weekend of it. And
Mm.
it's one of the reasons I take my wife. She likes the talks, but also we can go out at night, have a nice meal, and literally, got the whole of London on your fingertips, haven't you? But
Yeah. Yeah.
Angel is great. So there's that parking. There's lots of private parking around the area. I use that Your Parking Space or My Parking Space app, which is
Right.
pretty good. And so it's all good really. I think it's pretty well organized.
Mm.
And will you be going again, do you think?
Um, I'm not sure if I'll go to that one again,
Mm,
unless I have to look at the speakers and that because um, I don't want to keep repeating and repeating the same thing. I mean, you go because you're speaking and things like that. In terms of information, if there's new um, things that will be there, then I'll go. But if it's going to be the same or similar, then I'd just like to try the things that I haven't been to be
yeah.
honest.
I've done Birmingham and I usually do all of them. I have not done Birmingham and Manchester this year purely because they didn't book me to speak.
Yeah.
And because they didn't book me to speak, like you say, I felt no real need to go.
Mm.
Um, I think venue-wise, I think it's the best of the venues. The Manchester one's good because it's not far from the train station.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think the best for transport is Angel. I think the worst is the NEC
Yeah. Oh,
because you just can't even get a bus there, can you?
no. No.
It's just the most. badly. Or if you can, I can't find it. But yeah, but anyway, what time is that? What do you think, listeners? Were you there? Did you like it? Did you think it was great? Did you think it was a waste of time? We'd love to hear your thoughts, and we'd love to pass them on as well to Angel. I feel a real affinity to them. I've been going to their venue for
Mm,
years, this, that, and the other, since my kids were little. So
yeah.
yeah, be lovely, really lovely to hear from you.
It would, and if you haven't been to a show, whether it be the um, National Autistic Society, no, the yeah, they do shows, don't they, Birmingham,
Yeah, yeah,
London.
they do. Yeah,
So if you haven't been to these shows or any of these other shows that we go to, it's worth going and having a look for yourself. So it's not
yeah.
open just to professionals; it is open to the public. And I think when they open it to the public on the weekends and things like that, it's free for them, isn't it?
I don't know. I actually don't
I
know.
think a lot of them are free for that,
Right.
um, but the information you can get is really really good. So
You
I think it's worthwhile going.
pick the one nearest to your house because
Mhm.
honestly, they're all much of a muchness, aren't they? So Tez SEN, etc. like that. The only one I never liked was I went to the Nason show, but
Mhm.
I don't think they have that anymore. I think it's Tez SEN, isn't it? And
Yeah,
they're Nason now, aren't they?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, I'm not. Gordon, it's lovely to see you, mate.
And yourself, thank you very
How
much.
can they get hold of us?
Well, from myself, it will be packed, PAACT, at hotmail.co.uk.
Right. And for myself, it's Whitehouse Andrew at hotmail.co.uk. Stay out of trouble, everybody.
Yeah, and they've been listening to
Oh,
Neurodivergence
yeah,
number
because I didn't
30.
introduce it, did I? Oh dear. Okay.
That's all right.
Lovely to see you all, but it is neurodivergent more than a label, and you can get it on everywhere where you get your podcasts. Right.
Cool.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. Bye bye.
Bye.